In faraway Scotland there are still echoes of ancient rituals and festivals, still whispers and fears of old gods and spirits. Today we will visit one of these wonderful places. It's called the Old Man's House or sometimes the Old Woman's House. The little people who in pre-Christian times were the gods or spirits of these places. To do this, you will have to make a long journey into the mountain valleys of Scotland. In one of the Scottish valleys, if you go a long way from the village, you can meet an unusual house covered with turf. And near it lie strange and mysterious stones. They attract the eye and entice us to touch their surface. To feel the power of energy in time, the gods of old. Is the temple of Tig Nam Bodach. This is where Old Man Bodach, his wife the goddess of winter and family live in winter. The stone family is gathered together at their hut. They are looking east to the top of the Milldale Mountain in Perthshire. The tallest of the figures is a water-torn stone with a feminine torso and slender neck. This is Cailleach. She is known as a witch, a wise woman who stirs up storms and lord of the deer. Around her are sprawled her husband, Bodach, and their children. There's an old legend about how they came to these blessed places. Many years ago, during a heavy snowstorm, a huge man and woman were seen. They were walking down the mountainside into a valley. There were people living there and the strange couple asked them for permission to shelter from the weather and the blizzard. They were granted it. And the strange couple liked it very much and they settled in the valley and the people built a house. When they lived there, the weather was always favorable. The cattle thrived and the crops were always the best. Then one day the time came when it was time for them to go. Before they did, they promised that as long as they were remembered and their house was watched and brought food and drink, they would be all right. And they left them mysterious, magical stones. The stones looked toward the great mountain and valley, and watched carefully for the rising sun. There they would stay from spring to fall, until the festival of the end of the agricultural work, Samhain. They were hidden in a small ancient hut. And they lived there all winter long. Now more about these gods or spirits of the area. Cailleach is a woman, our first ancestor. At harvest time, the last cut sheaf is called Cailleach and is kept in the house in her honor. With the advent of Christianity, she was made evil. She is a witch, a snow goddess and a winter woman. They say she controls the weather and storms the weather and storms. Cailleach is one of the oldest living creatures in Celtic mythology. She spoke to Fintan the Wise, a seer who traveled to Ireland before the flood. Cailleach is often associated with animals that do well in winter conditions. For example, she sometimes appears with wolves, deer, or birds of prey. She is the protector of wildlife during the harsh winter months. She wields a magical staff that freezes the earth and causes storms. In Scottish mythology, she appears on Samhain, October 31st, marking the beginning of winter, striking the ground with her staff, causing it to freeze. Her power over the weather also includes violent winds and spring storms, known as storm witches. These ancient rituals still take place throughout the Highlands of Scotland today. Some people take it very reverently and seriously and carry on a long tradition. They say you can't take these stones away. One day, explorer Dr. Ross took one stone away with her for a few days to study. And despite a very long journey, she returned it the next day. She looked gloomy and strange. Why she returned the stone is not known. But then she looked cheerful again without the darkness behind her. A local writer and guide says these stones can take different shapes and turn into people or animals when they need to. It is not known who made them or how. The stones have been worked for centuries by the water in the river. They are full of mystical power. Travelers leave food and alcohol next to the stones. There's always a sense of someone's eyes in these places. Someone is watching you from the fog or from the mountains. People come to this place to be empowered and leave quickly. What does the old woman whisper in their ears? When the wind blows cold and the fog is all around you.
Mahamokir, 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 Chaniel Mochro.
It's not a simple place, mysterious. There are 7 stones now. But according to the old chronicles, there were 12 in the house. The house itself is made of quartz stones. It literally collects the energy of the place. Not long ago, this mountain valley was supposed to be flooded. But the locals have managed to preserve their culture and values. Who knows, maybe it's the old woman and the old man who still keep the troubles away from these places. As long as people are loyal to them and help them.
Faraway Nam Bodach, faraway Nam Bodach, faraway Nam Bodach, gan thokal triglaun.
Peace and goodness to all. Appreciate my video and see you in the new movie.